Hey everybody, welcome back to 12 Days of PODMAS, a bit like this podcast. I'm your host Maxine and we're on PODMAS episode 3. Let's get into these topics. Daniel Penny, Daniel Penny was acquitted of all charges regarding the negligent homicide that took place. He was found not guilty of the crime that took place. um Here's the thing. Let's talk about the intricacies of this case. So he was the white, because I know people want to put in the race card, everything, right? So he was the white man who chokehold to death the black man. His name is Jordan Neely. He was a New York staple figure in local communities, particularly in the subway. And apparently he had just a history being maybe a bit out there, a bit outrageous in his behaviors. And he is also known for impersonating Michael Jackson. Now, I know the culture in New York City, especially on the subway, the culture is to ignore, act like you don't see, go about your business, right? Like everyone in New York, even beyond the subway, they go about their business. They don't pay attention to those around them. Southern, it's not how Southern states are, right? Living here in Texas, there is more of a, oh, hello, like you talk to your neighbor. You actually recognize what people are doing right beside you. You don't act like they don't exist. It's different in New York. I never liked people just being belligerent on shared spaces, like in shared spaces such as the subway, particularly the subway, being that we're in this tube together for however long, and there's sometimes no cell phone connection. The lights goes off sometimes, and it smells pretty poorly in the subway. I want my experience quick and seamless. And when you have those who are either homeless, and oftentimes if they're homeless, they are battling mental illness, and they have just poor hygiene, like the list goes on. It makes it an unpleasurable experience to be around those who are experiencing that state of life, unfortunately. And I know it sounds shitty to say that, but it is not a fun experience. Like, I don't like sitting next to those who have poor hygiene. And this goes for anyone, like whether you're homeless or not. I don't If you have bad breath, if you have just a funk, if you smell like wet dog, like there are people around me who smell poorly, and I have to actively not sit near them. So the point is, let's get to Jordan Neely. He was a homeless man, but being that New York City was or is this place where people just mind their business, they don't take it too seriously. Someone could be breakdancing in your face and you're like, like, hello? I need you to back up off me. Anyway, apparently, while Jordan Neely was on the subway, he was being belligerent and made a few passengers feel uncomfortable. Danny Penny took it upon himself to restrain this man. And unfortunately, that restraint ended in his death, in Jordan Neely's death. Now, do I condone that? No. I feel like he could have restrained him and just been a little lighter around the cords in his neck. But do I think he's wrong for restraining him? No. There's been times when I've seen, whether personally or indirectly, those who are just not in their right mental state being belligerent. And I would have appreciated a Daniel Penny to be around. I really do. Look, I'm not afraid to say sometimes people need to be held down. Okay, we can't be all, oh, I love murder, fuck that bitch, fuck, knock if you bug, right? We get so hype, right? We dance to these hype ass songs, these black anthems. But when someone's really about that life, oh no, it's so what you could have let him go. You could mind you, that's the culture. No, fuck that shit. Back up off me. Back up off me. So, RIP to this man. He did die from this, but again, I'm not mad at him restraining him. So apparently he's a Marine veteran, Daniel Penny. He's a Marine veteran. He was acquitted by a Manhattan jury on Monday. Well, I think it was this past Monday. So it happened pretty recently. And the jurors decided to clear him. He was cleared from the criminal negligent homicide charge that he was charged with after the caught on camera fatal encounter on an uptown F train last year. And this sparked a fierce debate about mental illness, public safety, and vigilantism. Just as I said in the last PODMAS episode, I approve Vigilante. I really do. We have to take it upon ourselves to seek justice. We have to take it upon ourselves to fight, to defend, and to protect. Because police, most of the times, they don't do that. They don't protect and serve. So when you have someone who is capable and unafraid to tap into his masculinity and chokehold a motherfucker who needs to be chokehold, that's what happens. Now, I'm sorry that it ended in his death, but let me show y'all a video. I don't want this type of person in my face or in the face of others, particularly my loved ones. Look at this video here. This is someone who is clearly, let me just pause it real quick. He's clearly out of his mind. Yet he's on the subway and he is making others feel uncomfortable. But no one is brave enough to be like, yo, man, chill out. No one is brave enough to hold him down or restrain him from acting like he's about to hit someone. Look, let me play the video while I'm speaking. Make sure you are watching this on YouTube, y'all, so you are seeing what I am saying. He is literally acting like he's about to punch these patrons, these passengers. He is just acting like he's, oh, hold on. I'm not even sharing it. My bad. Let me share it again. Okay, so again, make sure you are watching this. There we go. We're watching it now. This man here, he is on the subway. He is going to every passenger and he's acting like he's about to hit them in their face, and he suddenly stops. He suddenly stops before he gets to it. Everyone's just sitting there waiting to get hit. They're praying that he doesn't actually hit them. If he did, what would have happened? People would have just taken out their phones, said, "Are you okay?" Instead of restraining this man. Now, does he need to die from this? I don't think so. But what he does need to do is back the fuck up. He needs to back the fuck up. It's ridiculous. At this point, we are condoning mental illness to lead to violence and discomfort amongst those who aren't mentally ill. And that's not okay. I'm not saying because, oh, you're someone dealing with mental illness and haven't navigated in a manner that is productive, oh, you should go to jail. No. But I think you should back the fuck away from me. I absolutely think you should. And if this means choke holding you down like Daniel Penny did, then so be it, motherfucker. I don't give a damn. Cut the fuck out. I don't give a damn. Choke hold that motherfucker. I don't give a damn. Okay. And this has happened for far too long in New York. People have been minding their business, acting like this is all good, no big deal. That's just New York. No, I'm not trying to experience my ride to work or my ride from work to. I'm just trying to get home. And you got this guy acting like he's back in Vietnam. Sir, I'm sorry whatever happened to you at war happened to you. But you do not need to act like I'm one of the Chinese men and start hitting me. I said Vietnam and Chinese. Oh my God. I love all people. But dead ass, I don't give a fuck. Choke hold this motherfucker. I don't give a damn. Black, white, Indian, Asian. It really doesn't matter. Get up out my face. Okay? And I appreciate someone who's brave enough to be like, all right, motherfucker, stop. Child, I hate that. I just hate that. Go, 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 go. Like, what are you doing? What? And that's why people spend so much money on Ubers, because they don't want to experience this BS. This is BS. I should not have to experience this at any point. At any point. Anyway, so back to Daniel Penny. He was acquitted on the charges, and I'm not mad. I'm not really mad. Now, again, it's unfortunate that it had to lead to him being killed from the moment, but I mean, I don't know what else to say. I don't know, y'all. I'm just not I'm not politically correct. So I don't really find it to be get up on my face. Okay. And people are saying, well, what's his name? Jordan Neely. He was a good kid. I don't give a damn. Whatever he was doing. Okay, let me see. Prosecutors tried to convince jurors that Penny was criminally reckless and went way too far. Sure, maybe he did went way too far, but nigga, what went way too far was the fact that Jordan Neely was out here on these streets acting a fool. I don't give a damn. He was impersonating Michael. Oh, he's a good kid. He was I don't care. I don't care. Sweep him up. Sweep him up. Sweep him up. Was it reasonable for Penny to act the way he did, to have the fear that he did for himself or third party? And I guess once they took manslaughter, let's see. Because I want to see if I can find a part where it says how Jordan Neely. Yeah, and I think it really speaks to how states handle those who are homeless, those who suffer from mental illness. What are the and it's not even just that. Those who are not properly employed. The rent in New York is astronomical. Is that how you say the word? But the point is, I'm not. I think we're fine. People like to be fake outrage, and look, I don't give a look. He said he suffered from. It said that he suffered from schizophrenia, and oh, excuse me. Had been menacing passengers before Penny took. Yeah, hello. So okay, yeah, I'm sorry you're suffering through a mental illness, schizophrenia. That must be disturbing. I'm sorry about that, but you've been menacing passengers. You've been bothering passengers, but no one was strong enough to say, okay, back up. Back up. Seriously, back up. Back up, or I'm going to back you up. So maybe Daniel Penny gave him a few warnings and finally put him down. So, look, honestly, we got to get back to a time when we are maniacal. We do. I'm not here to just be like, oh, it's so sad. Another life lost. No, if you're menacing others time and time again, and yet still the police hasn't done anything, vigilante justice. Vigilante justice. So, anyway, just broken. Yeah, it is a broken system that we're in. Absolutely. People are not getting the support that they need for their mental health issues, for their drug addiction. Absolutely. And he was menacing passengers. And unfortunately, his mental health was declining. And as a result of that, people got menaced upon. Anyway, I just say all that to say, I feel like this is just another race war that people are trying to provoke, and I don't feel like it's necessary. I really don't. I really do not. So, God bless, child. God bless. Okay, let's get into our next topic here. So, if you guys remember, I talked about this guy who faked his death and left his wife, his kids, to flee to somewhere in Russia. It was soon found out that he didn't die. He actually faked his death. And this was something that he's been planning for quite some time. He has returned to the US and is now in custody. So he's back in Wisconsin and is in custody there. And I feel like I hope his wife divorced his ass. I hope his kids divorced him. I hope his dog divorced him. I hope he is divorced. Okay? Because my God, today, just as I said before, he could have just left. He could have just He could have just divorced his family, right? He could have just been man enough to be like, look, I thought I wanted this life. I really don't. Instead, he thought to himself, it's a better idea for me to act like I was killed in a kayaking accident. It's a better idea. It's more spontaneous. If I went on this kayaking trip like I usually do, but this time I don't return. This time I'm going to capsize my boat and flee to Canada and then flee to Russia. Anyway, so he decided to return to the US after figuring out that the woman he went to Russia for was a catfish. Well, that's my theory. It's alleged that he was communicating with someone and that someone lived in Russia. But maybe upon arriving there, it wasn't what he thought it was going to be. Which is just embarrassing, to say the least. So his name is Ryan Borgward. I mean, is he Russian himself? Probably Polish with that last name. The husband and father, who authorities said faked his own death at a lake. He fled the country, has returned to the U.S. willingly, and is now in custody at the sheriff's office. So who is accused of, so he's accused of intentionally misleading authorities to believe he drowned. And of course, that is a charge. Like, you can't do that. Authorities were putting together pieces to try to figure out if he left under force, right? Under coercion. But he released a video showing I am I'm not under any force. And the police at that point said, okay, I guess he was a voluntary missing person, to say the least. Anyway, so he's apparently cooperating with law enforcement, and he did some research prior to him going through with this. He researched other individuals that had successfully disappeared recently. So again, he was committed to this. This was an intentional act. And I mean, the boldness, right? The boldness that it takes to go about such behavior and such performance. I mean, it has to be sociopathic. He has to have sociopathy. He has to. He said to the authorities, everything hinged on me dying in the lake. The whole idea was to sell the death. Okay, so when he was abroad, he tried to stay under the radar, said he checked the news, but usually avoided clicking on articles. The criminal complaint mentions he had been living in the country of Georgia. Borgward said when he did click on a news article, he would use a VPN, virtual private network, and sometimes make it look like he was in Russia or somewhere else other than Georgia. Wait, so he wasn't the country of Georgia. Okay, so he wasn't in Russia. He did flee the US, but he wasn't in Russia. He made it seem as if he was using the VPN that he connected to, but he actually was somewhere else. Yeah. Criminal complaint mentions he had been in the country of Georgia, which is, where is that? Country of Georgia. Country of Georgia. It's in Europe. No, is it Europe? Okay, yeah. So it's near. It's near the stands. Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Iraq. Yeah, that area. So I mean, kind of Russia. It's basically Russia. You know, everything is just Russia. But yeah, so he was staying there for some time and decided to return to the US. Ryan stated that he knew that Georgia would have to extradite him and he wanted to be informed and prepared. He was asked I don't want to read this part. So he was asked what compelled him to return to the US. His response verbatim, my family, I guess. My God. That's what he said. No, he's a sociopath. I mean, at this point, everything was a lie. His vows to his wife, everything. Sorry. Everything was a lie. So it's not confirmed whether or not he contacted his wife and children. Ooh, what a terrible human being. See, this is who Daniel Penny should have chokehold to death just because. See, vigilante justice. So he is charged for obstructing an officer. He faces up to $10,000 and 9 months in prison for alleged obstruction of an officer. I guess he tried. What does obstruction of an officer mean? Obstruction of officer meaning when you try to hit an officer, or okay, no, it's the act of intentionally hindering, delaying, or obstructing an officer in the performance of their duties. Okay, so giving an officer a false name, resisting arrest, running from the police, all of that is under the umbrella of obstructing a law enforcement officer. So that's what he is charged with, which is not, I mean, okay. Faces up to $10,000. People just want to get money. And 9 months in prison, he can eat that, live his life again, and really move to Georgia over there, not Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia. He could really move to Georgia near Afghanistan and live his life after he serves his time. Child, what a shame. But yeah, there we have it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure you are subscribed, leave a positive review, tell a friend to tell a friend, and I will see you all in our next PODMAS episode. Goodbye.